Last year, China was the only major economy to report GDP growth at 2.3%. The pandemic took a toll on the global economy, but there are lessons to learn, according to a Chinese economist.
The Chinese economy is going through a transition from a fast growth stage to high quality stage. I think that was the situation last year, is also the same situation this year. I think the difference is that we have just gone through COVID-19 pandemic. Because of the COVID-19, Chinese people realize that they need to strengthen the supply chain, especially the global supply chain. Second thing is that because of COVID-19, I think that the sentiments, anti-globalization sentiments, actually are beefing up all around the world. So I think right now that will have some profound impact on the global dynamics. China probably will rely less on exports and imports going forward. So this is why the policymakers coined the term internal domestic circulation. So going forward, I think the domestic markets will be much more important than before. So I think those differences as a result of the pandemic and also as a result of the change in the external environments.
2021 marks the first year of China's 14th five-year plan period. The change in the growth model, along with the pandemic, poses new challenges. Of all market players, small and medium-sized enterprises in China are facing more pressure than others.
Small and medium-sized enterprises absorb more than 80% of the employment in China. So I think if they are not fully recovering and they are facing some kind of problems, that will have an adverse impact on the employment situation. Especially every year, there are more than 9 million college graduates coming to the job market and looking for jobs. So how to absorb a huge number of young people who are looking for a job is a big challenge, not just for this year, but for the years to come.
Pursuing a high-quality growth was made the theme of the 14th five-year plan period during the 5th plenary session of the 19th CPC Central Committee. China has enjoyed more than 40 years of high-speed growth, but now, high-quality growth.
China has just completed the industrialization process. If a country is going through industrialization, naturally the country is going to report a very strong GDP growth, and also the investment will be very high. If you talk about the challenges and the problems, pretty much there are two sides of the same coin. China has actually a couple of advantages going forward during the next 5 years and even in a longer time. China right now is going through a digital transformation. I think a lot of industries trying to rejuvenate themselves by using mobile technologies, AI, big data, this kind of things. And that will provide huge opportunities for the further growth. The second thing is that to make a digital transformation possible, you need a lot of investment, infrastructure, new infrastructure. I think on that front, we still have a larger space to absorb a lot of investment going forward. The third thing is that China has a very strong manufacturing base. I think that naturally provides some support for further growth of productivity. The last point is that currently the resource allocation in China is not that efficient. But by deepening reform and opening up to outside world, I think China probably has a larger room in the future to improve the efficiency of resource allocation. That will greatly improve the level of productivity.
Like what Liu said, the opportunities and challenges are two sides of the same coin. The work we have done in industrialization, digital transformation, and manufacturing gave us enough reason to believe that high-quality growth is not a pipe dream, but the challenging side will be
how to make this happen, how to ensure that you can unleash the potential on each of the 4 areas. That will be a big challenge. I believe that by relying on the market force, relying on entrepreneur spirits of Chinese people, I think, as I said, I'm still very optimistic.
From the 8 key missions of 2021 by China's Central Economic Work Conference to the 2035 long-range targets, Chinese policymakers regard consumption and innovation as two priorities of development. By using household consumption and the ratio of investment in research and development, Liu tells us where we are now and how we can create a better environment for consumption and innovation.
Currently, household consumption only accounts for about 39% of total GDP in China. I think in US, this level is somewhere around 60%. So we have about 20% of gap. Of course, you take the US as benchmark is not always right, but still it means that going forward, we need to improve the household consumption, as a percentage of GDP. The disposable income of households in China only accounted for about 43% of total GDP, which means that when you distribute total output, a large share of them has been still directed to investment. I think the second thing is about income inequality. If you look at the GD index, look at other measures of income inequality, I think China has a lot of things to do to change the situation. You need to have a strong base of middle class people, and they have willingness, they also have a capacity, they're willing to consume. When you're talking about high quality growth, I think it's mainly growth driven by TFP, the total factor productivity. And the source of TFP growth is innovation. In the past, I think the R&D as a percentage of GDP has not been that high. By last year, R&D as a percentage of GDP has amounted to somewhere around 2.2%, which is equivalent to the average level of EU. So we're seeing some improvement on that front. R&D actually consists of two words, right? Research and development. The reflection of R&D on research has been maintained below 6% in the past. So I think in the coming years, including the 14th five-year plan period, I would expect that the proportion of R&D on basic research significantly increase, maybe somewhere from 6% to 8% or even higher. You want to make sure you have strong science base to make innovative technologies to ensure that going forward, China can rely more on its own supply chain to solve those important strategic challenges.